Joy News Prime.
This is Joy News Prime here on Joy News on Multi TV. In this edition, graduate teachers threatening to boycott West African Examinations Council over frequent leakage of exam questions and call for resignation of WAEC head over recent incident leading to cancellation of 4 BECE papers. Director of Pharmacy at Kolebu and 3 others dismissed following inquiry into their failure to account for nearly 1 billion cedis of the hospital's revenue. Ghana chiefs blame June 3 flood and fire disasters on violation of ban on drumming and noise making by Dumso Must Stop protesters. Speaker of Parliament asked Privileges Committee to investigate comments by popular reggae musician that MPs use weed. And a new banking product which will spare health insurance service providers the long delay in the payment of their claims is now available. We have more business news, sport and international news all coming up in the next 60 minutes. The bulletin is also available across Europe on ABN television. Stay tuned. In our very first story, the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT, is threatening to boycott activities of the West African Examinations Council if it fails to rectify examination malpractices which have rocked the council. It follows the cancellation of 4 papers in the ongoing Basic Education Certificate examination after the widespread leakage of question papers. The council is also asking the head of WAEC, Reverend Sam Ni Mai Olenu, to step aside in a dissolution of the board of the council. NAGRA President Christian Adayo-Poku addressed a news conference in Accra today.
We call for the dissolution of the board of WAEC and the appointment of a more efficient and competent one in its place. We also strongly request that the head of WAEC be made to step aside while investigations are being conducted into the leakages. They must go because they have failed Ghanaian teachers. They must go because they have failed Ghanaian parents. They must go because they have failed our children. They must go because they have failed our nation.
Mr. Adayo-Poku says government must promote the creation of an alternate exam body to break the monopoly of WAEC.
We wish to bring into particular focus the circumstances that led to the cancellation of the 5 papers in this year's Basic Education Certificate Examination, BECE. It must also be noted that the recently written WAEC WASI was not spared its share of the irregularities when a paper for 2016 was administered in 2015 ahead of schedule and outside the syllabus. The situation is extremely disturbing considering that it is fast becoming an annual ritual. Year in, year out, questions are leaked, papers cancelled, and examinations rescheduled. For how long should this mess be allowed to continue? It is our very strong conviction that WAEC is able to afford this unpardonable inefficiencies because of the monopoly they enjoy. It is clear that whether their services are good or not, and whether we like them or not, they are the only ones we have. WAEC has become an untouchable bully that pushes bad services down the throat of Ghanaians while no one dare question them. NAGRA therefore recommends the following: that the monopoly of WAEC as a sole examining body at the junior and senior high school should be discontinued. Government should be encouraged to promote the creation of alternative examination bodies. This is seen in many advanced countries and can be done in Ghana.
Now, NAGRAT works with WAEC on various fronts as far as examinations are concerned. It, however, says it may be compelled to sever that relationship.
The West African Examination Council does have a very lopsided security system. They have a printing house where they print their own questions. They organize the papers and distribute the papers All these are in the bosom of the West African Examination Council. We are calling for the dissolution of the board of the West African Examination Council. In fact, my president did not say this, but I'm saying this confidently, that we nearly even came to the point that we were going to ask all our members to boycott all activities of the West African Examination Council. And if this continues and the integrity of the examinations are at stake, I am afraid we may get to a point where we will no longer cooperate with the West African Examination Council.
Meanwhile, the Education Ministry says it is yet to receive an official petition from the National Association of Graduate Teachers demanding the dissolution of the WAEC board. The Ministry's Public Relations Officer, Paul Krampa, however, says it is too early for anyone to suggest sanctions. He was speaking on the Pulse.
No, dissolving the board and then asking the head to not solve the problem. They need to actually find out what actually went on. At the end of the investigation, the board is found then the board will have to be dissolved. But as now, we cannot just solve that conflict because the schools are all located in the district. Now we have district directors of education, we have district sergeants and council coordinators. We are all in the district offices of the Ghana State Service, scattered all over the country. They definitely actually link up with the school authorities and organize some sort of course for them. So I can assure you that the graduate and candidate coordinators in the district who are trained, who are professionals, will definitely work with the students and ensure that they are not traumatized. We are taking this of what has happened, and then we will definitely sit down with our agents so that this thing does not happen in the future.
In other news, the director of pharmacy at the Kolibu Teaching Hospital and 3 others have been sacked with immediate effect for gross incompetence in dereliction of duty. According to a statement issued by the board and management of the hospital, the 4 have been found culpable in the misappropriation of 946,574 cedis, being revenue for the 24-hour pharmacy. The statement further said a forensic audit commissioned by the Ministry of Health revealed the wrongdoings of the director, principal pharmacist, pharmacy accountant, and stores assistant of the 24-hour pharmacy at the hospital. The board says its action is without prejudice to the ongoing criminal investigations into the missing funds by the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO. Well, still at Kolibu, junior house officers there have suspended their services because they say management does not care about their welfare. In a letter to the CEO of the hospital, the junior house officers indicated they have been working without appointment letters, medical examination for fitness, laboratory codes and staff ID cards for the past 3 months. This, they say, puts their health at risk while performing their duties. The aggrieved officers also accuse management of ignoring their feeding, which they find equally essential. According to them, the Medical and Dental Council housemanship policy requires that they are fed at least twice a day, in addition to other benefits. The former head of the Youth Employment Agency, Kobie Champon, says he did not anticipate his reassignment. His reaction comes on the back of a reshuffle announced by the presidency. The former YEA boss is off to the Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communication. Kobie Champon was speaking about the changes he made in the youth employment model, which has been the subject of controversy for some time now. He was speaking on the Joy News' AM show.
I came in with these 2 things at the back of my mind. That GIDA, as it was then known, needed strong leadership and strong management. We needed to change how the organization did things. And management was about coping with the complexities of the organization itself, mundane daily things. So that is what I provided. And in the process, we've achieved a lot. We've gotten a bill passed. In the bill, it sets out the governance structures of the institution. It sets out our clear funding sources. It sets out our reporting mechanisms and requirements. For the one that I'm particularly happy about is the fact that we needed an internal auditor for the agency. which is part of the bill, and the decentralization part of it, where we move it from top to bottoms up approach, you know. And we've achieved that. In fact, as I speak, we're in the process of rolling out programs for the new models that we had worked on assiduously over the period. The security services model, the youth in agric model, youth in agric processing. We're going to do the CHIPS compound model, community education, teaching assistance model. You know, these were the things that we wanted to do, and I'd given it a new direction. Hitherto, JIDA relied a lot on service providers. And I said, no, you can't spend government money that way. We have a staff strength of about 630 people. You need to give them a new orientation and training so that they can take up the mantle of delivering on some of these things.
Do you see it coming?
Nope.
Okay, you didn't see it coming. Yeah. Is that how it goes, appointment in the public? Sometimes
well, I always say we all serve at the pleasure of the president, and he decides what he wants to do at any particular time.
All right.
The Speaker of Parliament has directed the House's Privileges Committee to decide whether comments made by popular reggae musician Black Rasta about MPs warrants an invitation to appear before it. The musician, who is also a radio presenter by the name Abubakar Ahmed, has suggested that majority of MPs use marijuana. The MP who raised the matter in Parliament, David Hendricks Yabua, says the comment smacks of disrespect for the august House.
Supporting the application, the leadership from both sides of the House expressed their displeasure and urged the Speaker to enforce his powers to summon Black Rasta to the Privileges Committee to serve as a deterrent to others.
The conduct that has been mentioned is not only contemptuous of this House, but it has criminal implications. It's important that we follow the rules. It's important that the member referred to, together with the newspaper that published it, they come before the House to say whether what was published and what we heard is truly what he said.
Whoever is alleged, the nickname is Black Rasta, we'll get a real name, is brought to this House, referred, Mr. Speaker, by you to the appropriate committee to come and tell us and the nation the criminals that are in this House. Because smoking weed is a criminal offense, Mr. Speaker, and you can be jailed for it. Mr. Speaker, we should expect that action. For once, this House should bite.
My attention has also been drawn to Standing Order 32, which derives its strength from the Constitution, Article 122. Honourable members, I think that this is a proper and a fit case to refer to the Privileges Committee. And therefore, the publication is referred to them, and in that publication, the person who made the statement has been mentioned, the radio station where he mentioned it has been mentioned, and the paper, of course, the paper that published it, referred accordingly.
The Fija Secretary, East MP, later explained why he put in the application.
The man is a celebrity, followed by a lot of youth, you know, and then coming out from saying this, don't you think we are also a mentor to some of the youth? It will attract a lot of youth to go into smoking because, as Peter Toys said, doctors, lawyers smoke it. So if a member of parliament, including the president, is smoking it, then it's a good stuff for people to smoke.
The Privileges Committee has been given 2 weeks to report back to Parliament with their findings.
Now, the musician Black Rasta has been reacting. He has been speaking on LT and he says his comments have been misconstrued.
What I said was that 80% and over of parliamentarians use marijuana or have used marijuana before. That's all I said. They have used marijuana or are still using marijuana, 80% or over. And Doreen, you realize that marijuana has so many uses. When you talk about marijuana, people just think about smoking. Look, so many soaps are made out of marijuana. Hair creams, body lotions, even the aircraft that we sit in, some of the tents are made from marijuana. The chairs that we sit on, brought from China, a lot of the wood is soaked in marijuana water to be able to keep the wood hard and fight insects. A lot of the cars that we drive around, the dashboard, especially Mercedes-Benz, is made from marijuana fiber. So if you sit back and say, hey, make a lot of noise, you know, when I mention 80%, and I'm even being humble. Why did I mention parliamentarians? Those making the laws and upholding the fact that marijuana is dangerous and therefore is illegal. I'm saying that even they themselves, 80% and over, use marijuana.
We're taking a break. This is Joy News Prime. We'll be back with more. A technical advisor to the Ministry of Finance has endorsed plans to have the Electricity Company of Ghana partner a private institution to help transform it into a more efficient utility. According to Dr. Kofi Samoaba, ECG would need about $400 million a year to bring the company to an appreciable international standard. He was speaking to Joy News after a stakeholders meeting in Cape Coast on the need for government to cede part of ECG to a private partner.
Government has suggested that a private partnership for the Electricity Company of Ghana will attract more income inflows to be able to tackle the root cause of the current electricity challenges. Dr. Kofi Ba believes the current problems consist of generation and transmission, which he said is not ending anytime soon. The stakeholders meeting across the country is to solicit ideas on the way forward to Ghana's electricity problem. He was emphatic that ECG is not for sale as compared to Ghana Telecom, which was given for outright sale. He explained what they seek to do is allow private partnership with a concessionaire who has the financial capacity to turn the company around and help it perform better.
The criteria we are going to use to select the potential concessionaire is somebody who has the technical expertise. So there will be technology transfer for Ghanaians to be able to run the distribution sector. 2, we need somebody with a company with financial muscle. So that they can do the necessary investment. And then more critically, we need a company that has a track record of running the distribution sector. So it's going to be an open, transparent, international competitive bidding.
Meanwhile, an ICT director at the Electricity Company of Ghana, Ronald Kweku Bwedi, says the root cause of the erratic power supply is because the Akosombo is totally dry.
Our major problem today is that Akosombo is dry. And therefore, we are not getting enough supply from Akosombo as we used to have. Because of that, it has affected the total capacity that we can supply. In addition, we don't have any reserve that we can utilize. And because of that, we have to shed load so that everybody can get some power. Now, the situation is that for us to be able to address the problem, we need to increase the generation capacity that we have, so that at any stage when one system or the other collapses, we know that we have a reserve that we can always fall on. But today, as we have,
Ghana has suffered intense power crisis in recent times, though reforms to boost the sector started in the late 1980s.
Now, the June 3 twin disasters in Accra that claimed more than 150 lives is being described as an expression of the wrath of the gods of the Ghana state for the recent violation of the ban on drumming and noise-making. More than 100 of the people who died lost their lives in an explosion at a fuel filling station at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle, having taken shelter during heavy rains that caused massive flooding. Addressing a news conference in Accra, Acting President of the Ghana Traditional Council, Dudu Insaki, says organizers of the recent vigil to protest the power crisis should be held responsible for angering the gods.
Dudu Insaki II led a team of chiefs from the Ghana Traditional Council to tour the Odo River and drains and inspect the progress of the dredging so far. The reactive move by authorities is to prevent future flooding in the national capital. The acting president has, however, blamed the calamity of the June 3rd twin disasters on the popular celebrity Dumsoma Stop Vigil.
A group of musicians led by Ivan Nelson set a vigil to protest against power outage, which the country was experiencing at East Legon. Even the vigil, which was a second option, was agreed upon as a result of an intervention by the Ghana traditional rulers. We therefore wish to appeal to all residents in Accra and its environs to observe the simple traditional norms and customary rites or customary rituals as initiated by the Ghanaians to ensure peace.
This was a clear departure of the president's admonition for Ghanaians to move on from the blame game and look into how to prevent future occurrence.
There are those who will wish to apportion blame, and quite truthfully, there's plenty of blame to go around. But when we list one by one the various mistakes and failings that contributed to this catastrophe, I hope it is not for the purpose of pointing fingers, but rather of making certain that something of this nature never again happens to our dear country.
But the Jasi chair of Tabora and adjoining communities, Ni Ajedu the First, explained how the media played a role in pushing the Dumsoma Stop agenda, as well as what he calls gross disrespect for the Ghana Traditional Council.
Why is it Dumsoma is the media who has to spread the news? According to Ni Amaka and the Third, he said he believed that now we got a little bit of water and water. And now the Dumsoma is way limited right now. It wasn't like before. All right? And so that's a good sign that people should respect one another.
The Traditional Council says it will take steps to pacify the gods in secrecy to prevent future calamities on the Ghana land.
We're taking a break now, after which we'll bring you business news. But well after that, we have a lot more stories. Don't go away.
And my name is Eton Amse. Welcome to the business segment. Trading on the proposed Ghana Commodity Exchange, which aims to provide ready markets for grains and cereal producers, is set to commence in June 2016. The project, which is a public-private partnership initiative with the Ghana Grains Council, among others, is expected to address post-harvest losses and enhance price transparency among small-scale farmers.
Almost half of food crops produced in the country do not make it to the final consumer due to the unavailability of ready markets, transportation, and poor storage facilities. The Ghana Commodity Exchange project therefore aims to help create market access, fair returns, promote agricultural investment, and enhance productivity for smallholder farmers.
There are two benefits I can look at readily, which is the fact that they would actually be paid, for their effort in terms of quality. I mean, the more effort you put into, producing your grain, once you come out with the best quality, you can be sure of attracting a premium price for that. And then secondly, there's also been the issue of a lot of post-harvest losses. One of the big problems for these farmers is a ready market, and this is one of the things that the exchange is going to guarantee for them. So this is going to be a big benefit for them. Once you have a ready market, you can be sure that we're going to go a long way in our fight against post-harvest losses.
The project, which will also engage broad participation by small-scale producers, commercial growers, will provide credit facilities to the farmers.
They can put their goods into GGC warehouse receipt. It will be standardized. They don't have to sell it immediately. There are financial institutions that will give them money against the deposit, and they will trade it as and when they feel like it. So, if, for instance, the commodity exchange is in place, you have deposited your maize, we have lent you some money so you can live your life. So when the exchange announced that today price has gone up, okay, then I'll get my broker to sell it for me. Okay, so you get more money. But if you're going to sell it at harvest time because you need money, you're going to always be poor.
The first Ghana Commodity Exchange trade will begin in June 2016.
Matilda Pumaga for Joy News.
Now, the Ghana's investment law, which requires foreign players to bring in at least $1 million before taking a stake in the country's economy is being challenged. Chairman of Oxford and Beaumont Solicitors, a business facilitator with focus on FDIs, insists the current minimum reserve requirement of foreign investors is rather too high and unattractive and wants it scrapped. Elikem Nutifafa has been speaking to Joy Business after addressing the 15th MTN Business World Executive Meeting today.
The MTN Business World meeting focused on how entrepreneurs can play their role in attracting foreign direct investments. The Oxford and Beaumont Solicitors chairman, the main speaker, made it clear though Ghana remains an attractive destination for investment, the current GIPC Act, which requires proof of huge sums from investors, is a turn-off.
What we're saying is that you're not welcome. If you don't have big money, you're not welcome. It's unrealistic. It's in this day and age where all across the continent, their economies are open for people to do business in. Why should the government care what the size of your investment is? If it's not laundered money, if it's you have good intentions, you're willing to support the economy.
And for you, what should the target be? I mean, if it's too much,
it shouldn't matter. I mean,
should be left open.
Yes. If I have $5,000 and I want to invest in Ghana, I should be able to invest $5,000. Because with $5,000, do you know the number of businesses you can start with $5,000? In 2000, in my own law firm, my total investment was $5,000. You know, of course, law firms have different financial requirements. Maybe it was another business. I couldn't have got a foreign direct investor to invest in it. I don't think that's a... So forget minimum requirements. I think that you should focus on just encouraging people, period, to come and invest in the economy.
Elikem Nutifafa Kwenyehia has also tasked entrepreneurs to build their capacity and take advantage of the opportunities the economic challenges present.
That's what entrepreneurship is about. You create your own structures. You know, the fact that there are inefficiencies in the system is an opportunity for you. So the entrepreneurs who are succeeding are those who are saying, irrespective, I'm going to find people that I can sell a vision to. I'm going to train them the way I want to train. I'm going to invest in them over a longer period, and so on and so forth. So it's not just a case of, I mean, I think that to be fair to successive governments, I think that it's a reasonably attractive place to do business, reasonably attractive place to do business, irrespective of all the challenges in the economy. So the rest is up to the local entrepreneurs to sort of say, you know, what sector am I going to? What's my value proposition? How do I chase it?
MTN has meanwhile launched a surveillance solution app as part of its M2M security solutions delivered through the MTN business platform.
Still on telcos, the first month winners of the Tigo Yensonkwa promotion have been handed their prizes. The ultimate winner for the month got a 10 kVA power generator with a fuel voucher worth 500 Ghana cedis, with others walking away with power inverters.
Tigo Yensonkwa promo, which is aimed at supporting customers to cope with the current power crisis, has so far awarded hundreds of customers across the country with energy equipment. Tigo subscribers who win daily receive 3 kV generator with a 200 CD4 voucher. Customers are also awarded 98 rechargeable lamps and 38 power banks each week. A 10 kVA generator was up for grabs for the first month of the promo, and Sandra Camille is lucky to have won it.
I can't describe how I feel. I don't really talk on my Tigo SIM. I browse a lot. I get lots of credits. So I think the browsing alone, it increases my points all the time. So that is how. And it's not the only thing I've won so far, because since they started, I think every week I win something. I've won 2 gen sets already, 1 power bank, and a rechargeable lamp.
4 others also received 3,000 kVA power inverter each.
Oh, actually, it's good. I can say it's good because even last 2 weeks I traveled to somewhere in Kwanta, Kratching Kwanta. I used to have Tigo network over there, so it's good. But they should keep on doing what is more than what they have achieved now here, because you can go to somewhere in Ghana, you cannot reach Tigo here. So they should keep on doing their hard work.
For Tigo, customers can only keep making more calls, sending text messages while browsing on the internet to win more prizes on the Yensonkwa promo.
That's it for business. My name is Etonamse Israeli is standing by with more stories. Please stay.
Business News was brought to
Scientists undertaking the trial of Ebola vaccines in Ghana are warning the country still faces threats of a possible outbreak of the disease. They say the spread of the disease on the continent is not over and that the trials would help position Ghana to effectively contain an outbreak. The team has hinted it is still interested in going ahead with the trials despite public objection and government suspension. Joseph Opoku-Gakpo reports on a Health Ministry organized forum in Accra to educate the public on the trials.
The forum in Accra was to provide an opportunity for members of the public to seek clarifications from experts undertaking the trials on issues bothering their minds. Vice-Chancellor of the University of Health and Allied Sciences and principal investigator leading the trials, Professor Fred Binka, cautions the nation still stands the risk of an outbreak. He says the trials would help position the country to deal with any such epidemic.
So the Ebola epidemic has been devastating in our affected countries. We all know about that. The crisis so far is not far from over, and the virus may rise again even if the current outbreak slows down or is dismissed. This increases the importance and urgent need for an effective vaccine to provide a long-term protection to people around the world, including...
The team wanted to engage the services of 36 persons as volunteers in the trials, but following the brouhaha, the vaccines would be tested on only 12 persons. The team says it is ready to go ahead with the trials once the Health Ministry gives the green light. A researcher at the Kintampo Health Research Center, Dr. Kwekupuku Asante, says there is nothing harmful about the trial.
What we are doing in Ghana now is to check to see whether the vaccine is safe and whether the body will build a response to the vaccine. So our response to this question is we are not doing an efficacy trial now. The trial we are doing is to see whether the vaccine is safe. God forbid, we don't want any trial to happen, any outbreak to happen. But if there is, that is the only time we will have the unfortunate opportunity to test to see whether the vaccine is actually efficacious. That is the only time we'll have diseases.
Country Director of the World Health Organization, Dr. Magdalene Rabalu, assures the organization is stringently monitoring the trials to ensure no safety protocols are broken in the process.
Not that we are not following the debate, because if the data that is collected in Ghana is not good enough, is not collected through following proper procedures, it cannot go into the database. It cannot be used for the purpose of licensing a vaccine that the entire world will use. So this is such an important process that we are in.
For Joy News, Joseph Opoku-Gakpo reporting.
Well, Public Relations Officer at the Ministry of Health, Tony Goodman, tells Joy News similar fora will be held in Hohoe and other parts of the country before a decision would be taken on whether or not to lift the suspension. The advisory board of the Nursing and Midwifery Training College at Dunkwa-Onofeng in the Ashanti region is determined to punish trainees for what it calls insubordination on the part of its students. More than 700 trainee nurses bussed themselves from Dunkwa-Onofeng to Accra last month to demand unpaid allowances dating as far back as August 2012. The Health Ministry met with the students who camped at the Independence Square and promised that their concerns would be addressed. Their actions, however, have angered the board, which is demanding an apology from the trainees for bringing the institution into disrepute.
Apart from the official apology, the advisory board wants the student to sign a bond to be of good behavior and also start a 2-week internal suspension with hard labor. A letter dated June 17 and signed by board chairman Nana Ade Jamra said the second and third year trainees broke school rules by traveling to Accra without permission. The letter further described the students' action as gross indiscipline and insubordination. Though the date and time for meeting the first 2 sanctions expired this afternoon, one of the trainees who got the letter says school authorities would have to summon his parents before he considers the sanctions.
We haven't spoken to the student body yet on this new development. Some of them might have heard it. But the gospel truth is that the letter was directed to only 3 of us. me, myself, I'm Prince Stanford, and Akwasi Amponsa. It's like after we came from Accra, the administration have been calling us. We've had series of meetings with them. And it's like all the time when we meet, it's exchange of words. We are trying to interview us, see the people who are behind us in doing all these things, where we had our finances and those kind of stuff. All of the students, we contributed 50 cedis each that we used in hiring those buses we came to Accra with. All students were involved. We also consulted our parents. Where did we get the money to pay? It's our parents who finance us. So I've called home, I've informed my parents, and they will be coming to find what have I done to deserve the letter.
School authorities were not immediately available for comment.
Service providers of the National Health Insurance Authority may no longer have to wait for months on end to receive their claims. Thanks to a product launched by Unibank today in partnership with Philips and Medical Credit Fund, the service providers could receive part payment of their claims whilst they wait to be fully reimbursed by the NHIA. Officials explained claims made on the NHIA could also be lodged directly with Unibank.
The project was launched 2 years after piloting with some service providers. Deputy Credit Fund Manager Tonam Sapati tells Joy Business this is aimed at supporting government as well as improving healthcare delivery in the country.
It is about the launch of UniHealth Loan. We sought to make some intervention in the health sector of Ghana, specifically the private health sector. You know, like I said in my presentation, much of the intervention has been in the public sector. And we have realized that the private sector is underserviced and underfinanced. And so we saw an opportunity there.
Service providers under the National Health Insurance Scheme will have the opportunity to get their money 24 hours after submitting claims.
The Medical Credit Fund is part of the Pharmaxis Group and is aimed at helping to increase financing in the healthcare sector in Africa. And the Medical Credit Fund specifically aims to bridge the gap between bankers and healthcare providers. Healthcare providers are perceived as a high risk for banks, so it's very difficult for them to borrow money and invest in quality care. And that is what we try to help.
The National Health Insurance Authority, meanwhile, says it is still paying the arrears of health service providers. Health insurance providers earlier this year stopped providing services to patients on the NHIS following the failure of the authority to settle its debts to members.
We're bringing you sports news next. Don't go away.
The sports segment is...
Let's do some sports now. The sports ministry insists Ghana will participate in this year's All-Africa Games in Brazzaville, Congo, despite complaints by various sports federations that fans are not being released for their preparations. Sports Minister Dr. Mustafa Akbet has told Joy Sports the situation has improved and has assured Ghana's contingent will be ready for the multi-sport event.
We are in touch with the various federations. We have removed all suspicions by way of regular briefings and interactions, and then they all have their programs. And as and when they present their programs, we attend to them. And therefore, I don't think the issue of non-release of funds is any more tenable. I think in the past there was a suspicion that their releases will be delayed, and therefore if the releases are delayed it will affect their training program. But I will say that everything is now on course.
Boxer now, and renowned Ghana boxer Barima Kamoko, popularly known as Bukom Banku, says he's looking forward to fighting boxers outside the country other than engaging in local bouts which amount to nothing financially. The cruiserweight, who last fought rival Aita Powers in a headline bout at the Cross Sports Stadium last year, seems unhappy with the purses for such bouts and tells Joy Sports he's fed up with the monetary stagnation in the sport.
Right now, me and my brother,
we make more to get an international fight to go and fight because Ghana fight is where. You understand? The time I fight with my brother, I'm not fighting gay because everybody they fear me. But me and my brother, I tell them that let's get proper money to go and stay America to fight. You understand? Because Ghana nothing go on. Well, if you stay Ghana cry, everything will spoil. Look at me, fine boy like me, 36-year-old. I'm not sure I go killing people. As a sensibility boy killing people. Master, tell the gods to come and kill us. I want to tell the gods to come and kill us.
All right, he calls himself Africa's Mayweather, so it won't be bad if he gets into America to stay with Mayweather himself. Now, celebrity boxer Michael Okai, also known as Aita Powers, is on the same wavelength as Bukom Banko and spoke to Joy Sports.
Oh, me, after I fought Bukom Banko, you know, I fought again and I have two fights. Even last Saturday, I have another one more fight, 10 rounds, and I stopped my opponent first round. Me, I don't blame my brother, he's not fighter, because his record is good. You understand me? He don't have any lose in his record. But somebody like me, I have a lot of lose. So I have to protect my lose, then I can go forward. You understand me? So I'm supposed to fight. As for him there, once he don't lose, he don't have any problem. He don't lose before, he don't have any problem.
What do you do with your money?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, you know, there are some things. It's my secret. I don't have to voice out. You understand me? Yeah, it's my secret. Yeah, you know, I have family, I have brothers. I like taking care of people, so that's it.
All right, so sometimes you wonder if your rivals are brothers, really. Now let's move away from the ambition to step out of the country to the ambition to become FIFA president, because Liberia FA chairman Musa Bility has announced plans to stand for presidency of FIFA, saying it's Africa's time to lead the world. The 48-year-old is the second person to declare his candidacy after former Brazil international Zico.
We all agree in the world today that football is facing a difficult moment, and it is in a difficult moment. Being the single largest bloc, if Africa does not put up a candidate, it says a lot about us. It shows a sense of mediocrity. It shows that our only relevance is to go and vote and make leaders. I think that is not right. I think leaders must lead. Today we are the leaders. We are the largest group in FIFA. We must take the lead to reform the organization. We must take the lead to unify the organization. We must take the lead to bring football together. We need to recognize the feelings and then bring about laws that will no longer leave major decisions.
Well, good time for sports, if I want to put it. Only yesterday we had Aliko Dangote wanting to go for Arsenal. Here's Bility asking for the FIFA presidency. That'll be all for sports tonight. Israel Lai will join us with some more. You have a good night.
Two boxers, also cited by the Ghana Traditional Council as being partially responsible for the June 3 twin disasters that hit Accra, have reacted to the claims against them. The Ghana chiefs at a news conference today stated that a popular bout between the two boxers a year ago angered the gods of the land, triggering the twin disasters.
A boxing tournament between Bukom Banko and Aita Powers was staged in Accra Sports Stadium, much to the displeasure of the traditional rulers, because it was staged during the ban on drumming and noise-making in 2014.
But the two boxers are not taking the charge kindly at all and are demanding proof from the chiefs. They've been speaking to Joy News' Derek Okosam.
I don't hear anything about that, but the way you call me and you talk to me and you tell me that you come here to interview me about what the Ghana traditional see, I say come. And let me call my brother also come and you interview me and I explain myself.
Right, so they are saying that your bout was the reason for the death of the over 152 people. You think they are right?
Oh, this is no right thing. Me and Aita Powers bout. Aita Powers go TV Joshua to pray. Yeah, TV Joshua pray for Aita Powers. I'm God Prophet 1 and Tiffy Mom also pray for me. We don't use juju to fight boxing. No. If it's somebody say or God trash traditional say Buko Banku and Aite Power is bad killing the people in the circle. You understand me? I want the people come my face to come and tell me that me I kill the people in the circle. I think say this is mad. The people say that they are mad. You have gossips. You have gossips. This is something coming in the circle. You tell your gossips to stop. And you stay there, you tell me that me and Aite Power is about killing the people.
Let me also talk to Powers. Powers,
yeah.
What do you think of the reason being given by the Ghana Traditional Council?
Maybe for all things, what I have to say is, if those gods know that me and Buko Banku, we are the cause of all these things. I have my family, and I'm living as well. Why those gods can't kill me or kill my family, kill all my family? Then I got to know that what we did is the reason why my families are dead. Then I will wake up. But gods will wake up and go and kill people who don't know nothing about our fight. I have family, I have kids, I have wife, I have girlfriends as well. Why gods can't kill my wife, my kids, my girlfriends, or even myself?
Let me ask you again, before the bout, did you receive any words of caution from the Traditional Council telling you to stop the bout?
No, I don't hear anything because Osu Ulomo tell me that you don't allow us to fight because tomorrow Aduma they make our kusum and they tell me we beg them, and me and my brother we understanding ourselves, we go there to fight.
When they come to you and they tell you to pacify the gods, will you do that?
No, nobody should tell me nothing.
I don't understand any gods because I don't know there's any gods because I don't trust anything.
And that's how we wrap up the bulletin. My name is Zurulai. Thank you very much for watching.
This is Joy News Prime.